In an upscale neighborhood in the Boston suburbs, Olivia Morris began her morning routine. Perched on the marble kitchen counter, she sipped her coffee while preparing for today's client meeting. Olivia had struggled to get her interior design. Which city are you watching from? Drop it in the comments. And hey, make sure you watch till the end. Something's going to happen that you won't see coming. Firm off the ground, but things had finally stabilized over the past few months. Mom, have you seen my lunchbox? 8-year-old Lucas came bounding down the stairs, his bright blue eyes always warming his mother's heart. It's in the refrigerator. I prepared it yesterday. Olivia smiled gently, fixing her son's tousled hair. The kitchen door opened, and Ethan, her husband, appeared in his business suit. He was known as one of Boston's top insurance brokers. At first glance, they were the perfect family, a large suburban home, successful careers, and an adorable son. Good morning, Ethan greeted coldly, still holding his briefcase. He had barely joined the family for breakfast lately, leaving early again. Olivia tried to meet her husband's eyes, but Ethan was busy checking his phone. Final stage of a big contract. Don't expect me for dinner either. He lightly patted his son's head, took just one sip of coffee, and started preparing to leave. Olivia sighed. Her relationship with Ethan had noticeably cooled over the past few months. He no longer talked like he used to, came home late, and gave only vague answers to her questions. Whenever she pressed him, she always got the same answer. I'm trying to close a big deal. It's for the family. After Ethan left, Olivia dropped Lucas off at school and headed to her office. Her design firm was small but well regarded by clients and slowly expanding. That afternoon, while reviewing plans for a new project, the phone rang. It was Ethan's mother, Carol. Olivia, as a member of this family, you should be more responsible. Carol's voice always carried a critical tone. Ethan is busy with work, yet you always prioritize your own career. Olivia took a deep breath. Criticism from her mother-in-law was routine. Carol, I'm contributing to the family income, too. Besides, Ethan and I agreed to support each other's careers. Oh really? Carol's tone became condescending. Well, about the cruise next month. Olivia was puzzled. Cruise? Ethan hasn't mentioned anything. He probably forgot to tell you because he's been so busy. We'll be touring the Caribbean for 10 days. Since Walter recovered from his heart attack last year, we want to make it a special celebration. You and Lucas are coming, right? Olivia thought about the project deadlines approaching. Actually, I have a major project during that time. My goodness, you're putting work before family? Think how disappointed Walter will be. Carol's voice was full of reproach. That evening, when Ethan came home, Olivia brought up the cruise. Why didn't you tell me? I need to adjust my project schedule, Ethan replied with unusual firmness. This is for my father. He's just recovered from a heart attack. We should attend as a family. Olivia was surprised by her husband's attitude. Ethan had been indifferent about her work lately. She wondered why he was suddenly insistent about this cruise. In the weeks before departure, Ethan's behavior grew increasingly strange. He made more hushed phone calls, abruptly ending conversations when Olivia entered the room. Once, when she tried to enter his study, Ethan hastily hid some documents in a drawer. Is something wrong? Olivia would ask, but Ethan's answer remained the same. Just business, nothing to worry about. But instinctively, she felt something was off. Ethan's overtime increased, sometimes coming home in the middle of the night. Once, waking up late, Olivia found Ethan still awake, staring at his computer screen. When she called out to him, he quickly closed the laptop. The day before departure, after tucking Lucas into bed, Olivia prepared for the trip with lingering anxiety. She hoped this cruise might offer a chance to repair her relationship with her husband. Boarding the cruise ship, Olivia immediately sensed tension. Carol was paying unusual attention to her and Lucas. Olivia, your room with Lucas is near ours. Let me know your schedule. I want to do some special activities with Lucas, Carol said with an eerie smile. Olivia saw not affection but something calculated in Carol's eyes. Feeling uneasy, she smiled at her mother-in-law. Thank you, Carol, but Lucas and I plan to spend time together. Carol's smile didn't fade. This cruise is going to be special. Olivia sensed something was being planned among the family but couldn't yet grasp the full picture. On the evening of the third day of the cruise, Olivia was with her son on deck, watching the sea. The beautiful Caribbean sunset colored the horizon while Lucas excitedly talked about dolphins. This peaceful moment changed with Ethan's arrival. "Here you are." Ethan's voice was unusually cheerful, almost affectionate. "I've been looking for you." Olivia was confused by her husband's sudden change in attitude. "Is something wrong?" she asked. Ethan smiled and said, "Tonight is special. I've booked a private dining experience in our cabin suite with the chef's special dinner." Lucas let out a cheer. "Yay, special dinner with Dad. My parents are attending another event, so it'll be just the three of us," Ethan continued, his expression showing a gentleness Olivia hadn't seen in a long time. Though skeptical of this sudden change, Olivia was moved by the opportunity for family time. "That's lovely. Any special reason?" she asked. "Just want to spend time with family." Ethan placed a hand on Lucas's shoulder. "I realized I've been too busy lately." Back in the luxurious cabin suite, the table was indeed set with an elaborate meal: seafood appetizers, lobster as the main course, and even Lucas's favorite chocolate dessert. Through the windows, starlight and the dark sea created a romantic atmosphere. "Wow, all this for us?" Lucas's eyes sparkled. "Yes, especially for you." Ethan smiled at his son. "I arranged all your favorite desserts today." Ethan opened a wine bottle and clinked glasses with Olivia. "A toast to our new life ahead." Olivia felt something odd about his words. "New life?" "Yes, to new possibilities, new adventures," Ethan answered vaguely. His eyes seemed to be hiding something. During dinner, Ethan appeared to enjoy family conversation for the first time in a while. He showed interest in Lucas's school activities and asked about Olivia's recent projects. Occasionally, though, he checked his watch and phone. "Dad, will you come to the pool with me tomorrow?" Lucas asked. "Of course," Ethan answered, but his voice carried a subtle hesitation. Midway through the meal, Ethan's phone rang. He looked at the screen, his expression tensing slightly, and said, "I'll be right back." Before stepping out, Olivia heard him speaking in hushed tones outside. His voice was low and tense. When Ethan returned, his expression was rigid, showing signs of anxiety. "Is something wrong?" Olivia asked, but Ethan brushed it off, saying it was a business call. "Don't worry about it." When dessert time came, Ethan served a special chocolate cake. "This is a special order. I specifically requested it from the chef." Lucas eagerly began eating the cake. It was sweet and delicious at first, but after a few bites, Olivia began to feel strange. Her body felt hot, and her vision blurred. Lucas's face flushed as he said, "Mom, I feel funny." "We're not feeling well," Lucas said weakly. Olivia tried to stand, but her legs wobbled. She clutched the table, her head spinning, making it difficult to think clearly. Ethan calmly said, "You'll feel better after resting," and helped her lie down on the sofa. Lucas was similarly placed on another sofa. Olivia felt terrified as she sensed her consciousness fading. She tried to see Ethan's expression, but his face appeared blurry. As her consciousness became intermittent, Olivia heard Ethan on the phone again, his voice cold and calculated. "It's going as planned. It's working. They can't move. By morning, they'll both be at the bottom of the sea. Now, it's your turn." Terror coursed through Olivia's body the moment she realized her husband was trying to kill her and Lucas. She desperately tried to stay conscious. She had to protect Lucas. After hanging up, Ethan surveyed the room, checking on Olivia and Lucas. "Perfect. I'll be back in about 30 minutes, he muttered before leaving the room. Olivia summoned all her strength to maintain consciousness. Her son's safety was the priority. After confirming Ethan had left, she used her trembling limbs to crawl to Lucas's sofa. She called her son's name, and fortunately, Lucas hadn't completely lost consciousness either. "Mom, my head's spinning. I feel sick." Lucas's voice was weak. Olivia firmly grasped his hand and whispered in his ear, "Stay still. Don't open your eyes yet. Even when Dad comes back, pretend to be asleep." Lucas nodded fearfully, his small hands squeezing Olivia's back tightly. Olivia quickly took out her phone to call for help, but communication was poor on the ship, and there was no signal. Trembling with fear and the drug's effects, Olivia crawled to the door and locked it. She found a ship map and located the security office. The nearest one was 3 floors down. "Lucas, listen. We're in danger. Dad is," she chose her words carefully, "Dad is trying to hurt us. We need to get help." Fear filled Lucas's eyes. "But why would Dad do that?" "There's no time to explain now. Just trust Mom." Olivia hugged her son tightly, Olivia gripped the door handle and slowly opened it with trembling hands. The hallway was quiet, but she could hear the sound of Carol's voice from around the corner. She was just coming out of another guest room. Olivia held her breath, looking for an escape. Finding a nearby laundry room door, she quickly pushed Lucas inside, leaving the door slightly ajar. Olivia watched Carol approach, talking on her phone. "There's no sound from their room anymore," Carol said, her voice sharp. "The drug must be working." Olivia's heart raced. Carol was also involved in the plan. The mother-in-law stopped in front of their room and knocked. When there was no response, she took out a key card. "Richard, I'm coming in. I'll check on them," Carol said. Olivia froze in fear, imagining Carol's reaction when she discovered they were gone. She gripped Lucas's hand and whispered in his ear, "We're going to run now." Toward the elevator. The moment Carol entered the room, Olivia and Lucas burst out of the laundry room and began running in the opposite direction. Despite stumbling and hitting the walls, they desperately headed for the elevator. "They're gone." Carol's shout came from behind. "Richard, they've escaped." Olivia didn't look back. She pressed the elevator button and waited for the doors to open. Lucas had started crying in fear. "Mom, Grandma's coming," Lucas said, his voice trembling. From the far end of the hallway, Carol was approaching them with quick steps. Olivia pressed the elevator button again repeatedly. "Ethan, wait there," Carol called. "Richard is worried about you." The elevator doors opened, and Olivia pushed Lucas inside. "Hurry," she whispered, pressing the close button repeatedly as the doors began to close. Just as the doors were closing, Carol came running toward them. "Wait, you're not well." The doors closed completely, and the elevator began its descent. Olivia leaned against the wall in relief. Lucas was trembling in her arms. "Is Grandma bad too?" Lucas asked softly. Olivia embraced her son. "Don't worry, we'll get help soon." The elevator arrived at the ship's main deck. When the doors opened, they emerged into an atrium bustling with passengers. The evening entertainment had just ended, and people were gradually returning to their rooms. Olivia looked for signs indicating the security office's location. "It's over there," she said, pulling her son's hand, trying to make their way through the crowd. However, the drug's effects hadn't completely worn off, and both struggled to walk straight. Some passengers looked at them suspiciously. "Mom, that person." Lucas fearfully pointed to a young female staff member across the crowd. "She's looking around vigilantly while talking on her phone." "Let's avoid that woman," Olivia said, changing direction and entering another corridor. The ship was like a maze, and even with the direction signs, finding the security office was confusing. "I think it's this way," Olivia said, though uncertain. However, the corridor she turned into was a dead end. "Wrong way." "Let's go back," she said. When they turned around, the female staff member was standing at the entrance to the corridor. Upon spotting Olivia and Lucas, she immediately said something into her phone. "I found them. See deck, west side." Olivia quickly looked for another route. There was a crew-only door at the dead-end corridor. Without hesitation, she opened it and pulled Lucas inside. "Aren't we not supposed to go in here?" Lucas asked worriedly. "It's okay. In an emergency," Olivia replied. The crew area hallway was narrow with dim lighting. They proceeded further and emerged into the back of the kitchen. Chefs were busy working, and they tried to pass through as inconspicuously as possible. "Excuse me, passengers aren't allowed here," a young cook called out to them. Olivia made a split-second decision to tell the truth. "Please help us. My son and I are in danger. My husband poisoned us." Turning around, she saw Richard standing at the kitchen entrance. Beside him were the female staff member from earlier and a man in a security uniform. "She's my wife. She's been mentally unstable," Richard told the kitchen staff, his voice sounding concerned. But his eyes were cold. Olivia stood protectively in front of Lucas. "Stay away. You tried to kill us." As the surrounding staff showed surprised expressions, Richard moved closer. "Calm down. You're confused. You need to take medicine and rest." "Liar," Olivia shouted. "You poisoned our dinner, and I heard you say on the phone, by morning, they'll both be at the bottom of the sea." The security officer looked at Richard. "Sir, shall I escort your wife to your room?" Richard nodded calmly. "She's been showing symptoms of paranoia lately. I was planning to have her see a doctor." Don't believe him. Olivia was desperate. This man is planning insurance fraud. My son and I each have $1 million life insurance policies. I have proof. She took out the cake wrapped in the napkin from her pocket. This is part of the dinner my husband served. If you test it, you'll find poison. The kitchen was filled with tension, perhaps moved by Olivia's desperation. An older chef stepped forward. Wait a moment. This is serious. Let's call the security chief. Richard's expression momentarily hardened. That's not necessary. This is a family matter. I'll take care of my wife. No, I will not go with my husband, Olivia said, embracing her son. Please protect us. The chef said something to the security officer, who began communicating on his radio. Richard stared intently at the two. Just then, the female staff member whispered something to him. Richard bit his lip and looked at the exit. Please stay where you are. The ship's security chief appeared with several subordinates, a stern-looking middle-aged man trying to quickly assess the situation. Please explain the situation, Olivia, with trembling hands, began to explain. My husband prepared dinner for me and my son. After eating, we began to feel disoriented. As I was losing consciousness, I heard my husband say on the phone, by morning, they'll both be at the bottom of the sea. She offered the cake wrapped in the napkin. This is evidence. Please test it. The security chief took the cake and instructed one of his staff to secure it. This is a serious accusation. We need to hear from both parties. Richard stepped forward, feigning calmness. My wife has been experiencing hallucinations recently. She needs treatment. He's lying, Olivia cried. He's conspiring with his mistress to kill us, and Carol, his mother, is also involved. Mistress? The security chief tilted his head. Olivia pointed to the female staff member. Her. She's Richard's mistress. The woman's face turned pale as she looked at Richard, who couldn't hide his anxious expression. This is ridiculous, Richard quickly said. Sophia is just an acquaintance. Sophia? Olivia raised her voice. So you know her name, yet she was never introduced to me. The security chief focused on Sophia. What is your relationship with this man? Sophia hesitated, looking at Richard. We are, she stammered, but Richard quickly interrupted. What matters is that my wife is mentally unstable, Richard said. I am not. Olivia took out her phone. My husband's behavior had been suspicious for weeks. Look at what I found in his study. She showed the phone screen. There was a photo of life insurance policies. Avery and Ethan were named, each with $1 million death benefit. This is family insurance. Nothing suspicious about it, Richard said, but his voice was shaking. Olivia showed another photo. You have over $500,000 in debt. The blood drained from Richard's face. He looked toward Sophia, but she took a step back. Richard, you never told me about money problems, the security chief said, beginning to understand the situation. Mr. Monroe, I'd like you to explain these accusations, the security chief said firmly. Richard momentarily tried to escape but was surrounded by security staff. He dropped his shoulders in resignation. I had debts, failed investments, Richard muttered. So you tried to kill us for the insurance money? Olivia's voice trembled with anger and sadness. Richard didn't answer, but his silence spoke volumes. Just then, the elevator doors opened, and Carol appeared. She froze momentarily upon seeing Richard surrounded by security. What's happening? Carol asked. Carol, you're an accomplice too, Olivia said. You were helping your son kill us. That's absurd. Carol denied, but her eyes were wide with fear. The security chief instructed his subordinates to take them all to separate rooms and contact the authorities. We'll hand them over to the police. Upon arrival at port, Sophia suddenly began crying. I didn't know. He just said he was getting a divorce, not killing. Olivia held Ethan tightly. Her fear had turned to anger as Richard was being led away. He looked back once at Olivia and Ethan. There was no regret in his eyes, only anger that his plan had failed. I trusted you, Olivia said quietly. We were a family. Richard was led away without answering. Carol too was escorted to a separate room, resisting all the while. The security chief approached Olivia and Ethan. Ma'am, let's have you both examined in the medical bay, and we'll prepare a safe room for you. Olivia nodded. She looked at her son's face and smiled slightly. It's okay, Ethan. We're safe now. Ethan clung to his mother. Mom, can we go home? Yes, of course. Olivia stroked her son's hair. We're going to start a new life. On their way to the medical bay, Olivia gazed at the dark sea visible through the window. A few hours ago, that sea was supposed to be her and her son's grave. But now, it felt like a boundary between past and future. The cruise ship Atlantic Star changed its schedule and made an emergency return to the port of Miami, Florida. Police vehicles and news crews were waiting at the port after being examined by doctors. Olivia and Ethan were protected by the police. Their image disembarking from the ship was broadcast nationwide on the early morning news. Richard, Sophia, and Carol were each placed in separate police vehicles and taken away. Richard maintained an expressionless face until the end, but Carol desperately tried to hide her face from reporters. Sophia was in tears, talking to a police officer. She intends to become a cooperating witness, prosecutor Jennifer Robinson explained to Olivia. She was a dignified woman in her 40s who greeted Olivia in the hospital waiting room. According to Sophia, she didn't know about the plan to kill you and Ethan, Jennifer said. Watching Ethan's sleeping face, Olivia replied, I don't know whether to believe she's telling the truth. We'll investigate, Jennifer affirmed. Her testimony will be important, but the evidence you collected is already powerful enough. Tests revealed that the chocolate cake contained a powerful sleeping drug, nearly a lethal dose. Further evidence was found in Richard's phone records. As trial preparations proceeded, Olivia and Ethan temporarily stayed with her sister, Melissa, in Boston. I'll absolutely protect both of you, Melissa said, having previously worked as a counselor for domestic violence victims. She was experienced in helping people with emotional trauma. When the trial began, the full extent of Richard's plan was revealed. He had accumulated over $500,000 in debt over the past 3 years from gambling and failed investments. These had been hidden from Olivia, the prosecution stated in opening arguments. The defendant devised the most despicable plan to avoid financial ruin. He attempted to murder his wife and son to collect $2 million in life insurance, but even more shocking facts came to light. According to Carol's testimony, Richard's father Walter's heart attack may not have been natural. Richard had tampered with his father's medication to weaken him. He had his eye on his father's inheritance as well, the prosecutor told the jury. The murder plan on the cruise ship may not have been his first crime. Carol, too, was more than just an accomplice. She had helped her son's plan to protect the family fortune. According to her statement, she had always thought that Olivia was not worthy of the family bloodline. I wanted to keep my grandson, Carol said on the witness stand, her voice trembling. Ethan carries our blood, but Olivia, she choked on her words. During the trial, Olivia took the stand multiple times. Her composed testimony and collected evidence supported the prosecution's case. Fortunately, Ethan didn't need to testify, but a drawing he made depicting an angry-faced father and a crying mother was submitted as evidence. The trauma this child experienced is immeasurable, child psychologist Dr. Chin testified in court. He was betrayed by the most trustworthy figure, his father. After a 3-month trial, Richard was sentenced to 25 years for attempted murder and conspiracy. Carol received 15 years while Sophia, as a cooperating witness, got a 5-year suspended sentence.